Amy, what are you doing?
I'm just trying to find some space in my pack sack.
For what?
My GMD. You know, there's no overhead bin, so I just don't know where I'm going to put it.
Okay, what's a GMD?
Oh, that's a gold mineral detector. I figure since we're going to the location of one of the greatest gold discoveries, this GMD, that's going to help us find some gold within a whole 10-meter diameter.
Well, I hope it's through 5 meters of snow.
Oh yeah, it's equipped to go through snow, earth, rock, you name it.
Oh, sure is a noisy little thing.
It's going off. There must be gold!
On the airplane?
Just wave it around and see where it's coming from.
Sorry. In this episode of CG Kids, we head to one of Canada's territories, the Yukon, to explore Dawson City. This city grew after the mineral gold was found in the area's creeks.
We join up with 13-year-old gold miner Gemma Gould and find out more about this historic town. Plus, we meet some of the mushers competing in one of the world's hardest dog sled races, the Yukon Quest.
On Jay's Geology, I pan for my own gold and check out how heat helps create this amazing soft mineral.
Dog mushin', gold rushin', and toes freezin', all on this episode of CG Kids.
Geographic Kids.
So where's your GMD? Did you leave it on the plane?
No, after it zeroed in on that woman's nose ring, I decided to pitch it. I think I'm just gonna go with my standard geocam metal detector. It's a lot more subtle, you know?
We are in northern Canada, in the country's smallest of the 3 territories, the Yukon. Now, its name comes from the Lusho First Nations word Yukana, or Yuku, which means great waters. At 3,185 kilometers, the Yukon River is the 5th longest river in North America.
We are in Dawson City, where the Yukon and Klondike rivers meet. The city lies in the traditional lands of the Trondek-Quechin First Nations. This area was a quiet, seasonal fishing camp for the First Nations people until someone came along and declared, "There's gold in them there hills!" Well, the gold wasn't exactly in the hills, it was in the creek. Between 1897 and 1904, $100 million worth of gold nuggets were sifted from the gravels of the Yukon's creeks. What was once a tiny fishing camp grew into the city of Dawson with a population as high as 40,000. As people raced to this area of the Yukon to seek their fortune in gold, it was known as the Klondike Gold Rush.
During this time, Dawson was considered the largest city in Canada west of Winnipeg, and it was due to the sudden population explosion that in 1898, the Yukon became its own territory, separating from the Northwest Territories. Dawson City is roughly in the middle of the territory, about 106 kilometers from the U.S. state of Alaska. Today, Dawson has a population of 2,020, and the city itself is a National Historic Site. They're still mining gold here, and if you're lucky, you can still find gold in the rivers.
And that's where we're headed with my geocam metal detector.
I don't think so. It's like minus 15 degrees Celsius. No, we are hooking up with 13-year-old Gemma Gould, and she's a 4th-generation Dawson City gold miner.
Very cool.
heart of Dawson City is a historical complex National Historic Site of Canada, and most of the buildings must remain as they were first built over 100 years ago. So we're supposed to be meeting Gemma at the Kissing Buildings?
What's a kissing building?
I don't know. Do those ones look like they're kissing to you? Ah! Hi!
Hi.
Gemma? I'm
Yeah.
Jenny.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Jamie.
Hi.
So, why are these kissing buildings?
Well, they're leaning together, so they call them the kissing buildings.
Why are they leaning together?
Because the frost has moved the foundation around and sunk it down.
That's great.
You gonna show us around?
Sure.
All right.
Thanks. Gemma's great-grandfather began mining here in 1903. He passed this tradition on to her grandfather, father, and now Gemma. During the summer months, she often works at the family mining camp. She also helps clear tables at the local hotel.
There's a ghost in there?
Just Hank the ghost.
Hank the ghost.
Yeah.
Well, have you ever seen him?
Yeah.
What does he do?
Well, he popped a glass or he knocks down liquor bottles. And he also was throwing knives at people and turns the radio on and off.
And he's done this stuff in front of you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he stays inside, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, cheerio, Hank. You just stay right there. Gemma's grandfather is a local historian at the Dawson City Museum. Gemma took us there to find out more about the gold rush.
Hi.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. So, tell us about the Klondike. What was that like?
Well, exciting.
Yeah?
Yeah. What I know, I never experienced it. That's before my time. But my father was here, so I heard a lot of stories. He staked his claim and started mining and made a living.
So, how did people get here? Walked?
They unloaded their supplies and started by putting 100 pounds or whatever they could carry on their back and climbing over the mountains. There was 100,000 apparently started out, but a lot of them got discouraged when they saw the mountains and sold their outfit and went home.
What about this? Is this...
Well, that's a typical cabin that the early miners and prospectors built.
Yeah.
See, they didn't need a very big place, 10 by 12 is about all they needed.
So teeny. So how much gold do you think actually came out of this area?
I would guess up to date, probably close to $1 billion.
Wow.
$1 billion.
Yep.
Wow.
So what's this, Mr. Gould?
This is known as a rocker. It's for washing gravels to get the gold out of it. And you shovel into there, and then you dip water out of here, up into it, and you shake it, rock it. And you do that until you figure that this is all washed and the gold is all out of it.
So then where does the gold come out?
The gold goes down onto these aprons, see, down here.
How long would it take to do?
Well, I don't know. They say a good man can handle 3 cubic yards an hour.
So a good woman could handle 5?
So why is gold such an amazing metal? Well, for one thing, it's a great conductor of electricity. It's also extremely malleable, and you can melt it and pour it into molds, so it's used for a lot of jewelry. It's also never tarnishes, so it's used in a lot of coins. And one very interesting thing about gold is that it's very dense. It's about twice as heavy as the same amount of lead, and 7 times as heavy as the same amount of ordinary rock. After the museum, we jumped onto snowmobiles and headed about 5 kilometers from town to check out a dredge used to remove gold from the Bonanza Creek. Save me a nugget!
The way a dredge works is it scoops up gravel and simply washes out the gold. This dredge was built in 1912 and is the largest wooden-hulled, bucket-lined gold dredge in North America. It's now a National Historic Site of Canada.
They put the chain there so no one steals the dredge.
We checked out the huge buckets used to scrape up the gravel. They can hold 2,041 kilograms each.
So all the buckets, they go on the end of this wheel, and then like a water mill, they pick up the gravel and the gold, and they go up this arm and into the dredge.
At its prime, this dredge could process up to 800 ounces of gold daily. That would be worth about $250,000 US today.
What's this? It looks like a little gold pan.
Don't touch that thing!
Eldon!
That's my pan!
Eldon, this is Gemma. Gemma, this is Eldon, who just shows up everywhere.
Nice to meet you.
Hi.
Hey, you a gold digger?
Yeah,
You ever get any gold?
a little bit.
Like a nugget?
Yeah.
'Cause I got a whole bag of them right here! Yeah!
You found gold?
Yes, in this bag, I've got so much gold you wouldn't believe it.
Really?
Yeah, take a look.
All right.
I got like 8 nuggets. There's like $6 million worth of gold in there. There's a whole pile of it right over there. It's amazing. They shouldn't have abandoned this area because it is gold. It is filled with gold.
Okay, Eldon, that kind of looks like wrapped up tinfoil to me.
What are you talking about? That is gold.
Okay.
That is pure gold, like $4 million. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I'm going to take this, and I am going to get more.
Okay. Good
You'll
luck.
see.
They were chocolate bar wrappers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that time again. Right, Jen? Right, Jen?
Hey! Oh, hey, guys! It's triviography time, and the question is, what is the Aurora Borealis?
Aurora Borealis?
And it's not the sound of starting up your snowmobile. Borealis.
And it's not a roaring boar named Alice. So just chill out. We'll get you the answer.
Every year, one of the world's longest and hardest dog sled races, known as the Yukon Quest, is held between the Yukon and the state of Alaska.
The start of the Yukon Quest alternates yearly between Fairbanks, Alaska and the United States and Yukon's capital city, Whitehorse. This 1,657-kilometer race starts in Fairbanks this year. The route across the border to the Yukon can include steep hills, mountains, and frozen rivers. It's pretty treacherous.
The mushers have been traveling for about 6 days before they reach the city of Dawson, the halfway point of the race. Here they must take a mandatory 36-hour layover to rest themselves and their dogs. These mushers come from all over the world to compete in this incredible race.
Boy, you good? Were you good?
How long have you been racing?
16 years.
16 years. And where are you from?
Healy, Alaska.
Healy, Alaska? And how's this race going? Are you exhausted at this point?
No, it's not going too bad, really. I've made it here.
You did. Congratulations. Can I give
thanks.
you a hug?
Sure.
This amazing race began in 1984 as a dedication to the early gold seekers, mail carriers, trappers, and traders who settled this area of North America at the turn of the century.
The layover in Dawson City is the only chance the mushers have to receive help from their handlers. For 6 days, they've been traveling with nothing but their dogs, sleds, and the vast tundra.
So we're heading to Dogtown, where these four-footed heroes finally get a chance to rest and recoup.
So they're not going to move for the 36 hours?
Our job is to make sure that they get absolutely as much rest as possible.
And what are they eating?
They had a meal as soon as they came in, a hot meal, and then I think at about 6 o'clock this morning they had another meal.
Did you just roll in?
Last night, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Did you got some sleep last night?
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Now you're taking care of the dogs. So what kind of terrain were you going over? Like, what has it been so far?
Oh, anything you can imagine, basically, you know.
Like up mountains?
Rivers, yeah, some mountains or high hills, you know, through forested trails, over lakes, just anywhere.
How are your dogs now?
They're just glad to be here, you know.
Yeah?
Like they enjoy a rest just like humans do.
Yep.
You know, eating, sleeping, and having a good time. But, you know, no candlelight dinner or anything like that. But
We learned this musher's secret recipe for keeping his dogs healthy.
here is, for example, pork fat. This is horse meat.
Horse meat? And then you pour hot water
Yeah,
on
so
it?
it thaws out, so they don't have to necessarily eat it frozen.
Pork fat for the healthy dog. So who's this Pucho?
That's Pancho.
Pancho, yeah?
Yeah.
You take them for a walk one at a time?
Yeah, one at a time. Usually they came yesterday night, so they had a good night of rest. And right now we just let them smell around and stretch out and give them massage.
And how is his legs? Is he walking normally?
Yeah.
He's healthy?
He's healthy. His front leg are a bit swollen, but
Swollen?
yeah.
So they'll be all better by 36
That's
hours?
for sure. They're all gonna be ready to go and win.
Well, good luck, Pancho. You know what? You just stick with it. Stick with it and give 110%, Pancho. You just do it for the team. And I'll be watching, okay? Yeah. The first team to cross the finish line will win $30,000 US. But that's not the only reason they enter.
They don't do it for money. It's a lifestyle. These people don't do this to make profit. They do it because they love it and they love the animals.
All right. Do you remember the question? What is the Aurora Borealis?
It's the name of incredible lights that can be seen in the sky only in the northern part of the world. This incredible phenomenon gets its name from Latin, meaning northern dawn, but it's commonly known as the Northern Lights. It's believed they are caused when particles from solar winds and explosions on the sun hit the Earth's magnetic fields. As they are guided towards the North and South poles, they interact with atmospheric gases and cause the most spectacular colors of red, blue, and green lights shooting across the sky.
Long before European settlers came to this remote northern part of Canada in the late 1700s, the Trondequetchin, or Han people as they're often called, had long been settled here and still are.
Trondequetchin means people of the river, and it's thought that these First Nations people inhabited the area from central western Yukon into eastern Alaska for more than 10,000 years.
The Han people lived a nomadic life in the Yukon, which means they traveled a lot following and hunting the incredibly abundant wildlife. Moosehide Reserve was established outside of Dawson to help the Han people preserve their beliefs and traditions. Today, a few people remain on the reserve, and it's used for traditional ceremonies. We're gonna hook up with Frida Roberts to show us around this historic reserve.
Frida?
Hi.
Hi, I'm Jenny.
Drukdrin Hozo. I said good day.
Good day.
Yes.
So why is the Moosehide Reserve all the way up here?
Because in 1857, Chief Isaac, who was our chief at that time of the Han-Huichin, because of the gold rush happening at that time, 1896, he didn't want any of our people to be influenced by it, so he moved us down here with the help of the Anglican Church and the RCMP.
Yeah. And how many people were here on the reserve?
About 300-400 people. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And they used to go up there to pick berries. They used to fish over there, and they used to go across the river down over here to hunt their caribou.
And why was this place chosen?
This is one of the sites that we actually had a fish camp at. As you can see down below where our fish shacks are down there.
Smokehouses?
Yes.
Could we maybe go check that out?
We could.
Okay.
Great.
Good.
You're the best, Frida.
Smokehouse is to smoke fish that we catch in the Yukon River, and we bring it up here and we cut it on this board over here into strips, and then we hang it up on those poles in there and put a small smoldering fire underneath to smoke it and dry it out.
So what kind of fish?
Dog salmon and king salmon.
So, Frida, what's that?
That's called a cache. That's where we used to store our smoked fish and smoked meat in there, keep it out of the way of the mice and the bears and anybody else that want to come along.
We got back on the snowmobiles and headed to the Trondequetchin Cultural Center in Dawson City. is this, Frida?
This here frame is called a dome hut, and we would my people, the Han Huichin, would normally use it in the wintertime. And they used to use the caribou hide, especially the one that you're sitting on the outside, and also some kind of insulation like moss on the inside. And right in the middle would be cooking.
So in the winter you would be warm enough in a dome hut?
In this size, yes. And they would live there like about 8-10 people, all in one.
In one this size?
Yeah. No, a little bit bigger. A little bit bigger.
No wonder they were warm. They're all crunched up into teeny tiny balls.
Hey, I'm rich. Well, not quite. This is actually a mineral known as fool's gold. It's a mix of iron and sulfur called pyrite that looks a bit like gold. It's one of the most common metallic minerals in the Earth's surface. There are thousands of different types of minerals in the world, but there's only one that has caused stampede after stampede: gold. It's considered valuable partly because it's so hard to find. You need about 3 tons of rock to make 1 ounce of gold. That's not easy. Gold is a very soft mineral and has become valuable because of its use over thousands of years for jewelry and money. A little gold can go a long way. Just over 1 ounce can be flattened to cover a 17 square meter area. Over the years, scientists have tried to find a way of turning more common metals like copper into gold, but they weren't able to. Only Mother Nature can make real gold. No one is exactly sure how she does it, but let's check out one way gold is formed and found. One theory is that magma or molten rock heats liquids deep within the earth, and this dissolves gold and other minerals from the surrounding rock, sort of like this chicken stock cube. When the gold is dissolved from the rock, the magma forces the liquids and gold up through cracks towards the Earth's surface. As this liquid cools, it drops gold into pockets called veins or lodes within the Earth's rocks. Here, it hardens. Over time, the forces of erosion and weathering, such as water, glacier movement, and even wind wear away at the rocks on the Earth's surface. This erosion chips bits of gold from the veins or lodes, and these chips are often carried by water to rivers. Because the gold flecks and nuggets are heavier than other materials in the river or stream, they cluster together at the bottom. We can see my gold nuggets through this glass jar, but how does a miner find deposits within all that sediment at the bottom of the river? By scooping it up in a pan. By swishing this dirt around with some water, the circular movement causes the different kinds of particles to separate and line up from heaviest to lightest. This is called panning for gold. The dirt gets washed away and leaves behind the heavier gold. Things with different densities naturally separate from each other. Although, my little brother seems pretty inseparable.
A fantastic fact about Dawson City is that the early gold seekers had to stake their claim in the area of the creek where they wanted to dig. This was done by marking the corners of the area with wooden stakes not less than 4 feet high. They had to write their name on the stakes and couldn't claim more than 500 by 1,000 feet along the creek. If within a year they didn't find any gold on this land, they had to give up their claim.
So how's your geocam gold detector working out for you?
Well, it's okay, except it's picking up on every type of metal you can think of.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'm sure you'll find gold around here somewhere.
Hey, whoa, Jen. What's going off? There's gotta be gold around here. Look at that gold nugget!
I want to be the star.